yeah, so pros and cons about the Streetfighter. There's a couple of things that I noticed on the bike, mainly because it's brand new and the fact that it's a brand new platform for them, and them as in like Ducati, and they're still teasing out some of the problematic areas about the bike. So my pet peeve or negative about the Streetfighter, the first one, I don't think there's going to be that many. The first one is primarily the fact that you're paying so much money and you don't get cruise control on this bike. Like, I get it, Ducati has announced, well, gone on record and said that this is a sports bike. It doesn't need the cruise control and all the extra shit that comes on there, like multistradas and diables. My thought process is a lot of the cruise control side of things is all electronic. Like, you won't be adding much weight to essentially put cruise control in here. It's primarily software with maybe a microchip that controls it. So my thought process is like, what the heck, man? You're not really going to be adding that much weight to the bike, so how can you justify saying, oh, it's a sports bike and cruise control is going to add a lot of weight to the bike? And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, you're a multi-million-dollar company, Ducati, and you're worried about what, having to spend a little money in R&D to advance your cruise control technology for your vehicle. So I'm just like, yeah, for 34,990 Australian dollars, that is a big no-no, especially on the S series, because this is a V4s. At least with the only real difference between the S and the standard is the forged alley wheels, I'm pretty sure, and the Öhlins front and rear adaptive suspension. So I'm just like, you're charging nearly what? The base model is about 31, 32. So I'm just thinking to myself, like, 31, 32. That's about, you know, roughly, what, a $4,000 price difference between the stock and the S. And all you're really giving is slightly lighter wheels than stock and the Öhlins adaptive suspension. Like, yeah, I get the Öhlins adaptive suspension is a little bit on the pricey side because it's Öhlins, but like, it shouldn't be used as an excuse to not have cruise control on your bike. Second thing, braided hose lines. Like, why don't you have that on your bikes? Like, you have everything else that's braided, but hey, I understand for like maintenance purposes, they obviously simple rubber and clamps do the job just well. Like, come on, you're paying a premium for an Italian bike, not a premium for excuses as to why they don't use those things on the bike. It's like, come on, it's unacceptable. Third point is the quick shifter. Well, not quick shifter, it's the auto blipper. The auto blipper on the Streetfighter is it's not bad, it's good, but older bikes had better. Like, I've noticed that the auto blipper on the Streetfighter, at least, isn't very smooth. It's quite clunky. Yeah, clunky is probably the only way I can describe it, because it loves getting stuck in different gears. Like, not just in the gears, but in between the gears. And that's with me, like, full on booting the damn clutch to move through the gears. So I find that very, very saddening that they couldn't put a updated, or at least the auto blipper from one of their better bikes. Like, For example, the auto blip on the R that my friend had, I believe is still stock, but somehow that is so much smoother than the auto blipper on the Streetfighter. Not to mention, he has less kilometers on that V4R than I do on the Streetfighter. So originally I thought it was more of a, you needed to run the bike in, get everything dialed in essentially. But no, still clunky, still gets chunky stuck in between the gears, which is all sad. Yeah, exhaust got brab. But yeah, so that's number 3. Yeah, number 3. Number 4, the goddamn price. Like, come on, Ducati. Like, I understand it's a premium Italian, I mean, it's handmade and all that kind of stuff for a lot of the parts. But it's like, the price for the bike makes it very, very hard pill to swallow, essentially. Because it is expensive, no doubt about it. And you can get other liter bikes that perform just as well for less. For example, like that Beamer right there. Brand new single R is cheaper than the Streetfighter. And most definitely the Beamer double R is a hell of a lot cheaper and gives you more than any of the Panigales, barring the stock Panigale, essentially. There's more bang for your buck with Beamer, essentially. Number 5 is maintenance costs. Maintenance costs on Ducatis, especially the higher end ones. Good golly gosh, they're expensive as all hell. Not just insurance, like for the bike, but also just aftermarket stuff is expensive, or more expensive than almost any other brand. But yeah, that's so far the negatives of in my personal opinions, after owning the bike for what, nearly 2 years, coming up, this will be year number 2. Sheesh. That R6 is beautiful. I miss my old one. Onto the pros of the bike. The pros of this bike, well, firstly, just look at it. It is a sexy, sexy machine. Cannot, almost guarantee, you cannot fault Ducati for their design. A lot of their bikes are literally works of art. Streetfighter is included in that as well. The Panigale as well. Secondly, the sound of this bike, ooh la la. Especially when you go full system. Oh, that deep roar from the Acros and the titanium pipes. Not to mention the look from the titanium pipes and the clear clutch. Makes this a very, very desirable bike, even for the Panigale series. But most definitely, the tech that's in this bike, like especially the gyros and all the other creature comforts, like the slide control, they're all, I can guarantee they all work nicely on this bike. They're there and they're like the premium stuff. To essentially save you from any boo-boos, essentially. The only downside of the tech, no cruise control, which I think is a little BS. It has the option heated grips, like the button's there, like, brother, why don't you just swap that out and have cruise control? Would I choose any other bike? Like, if I were to take myself back to before I bought this bike and choose another bike? Yeah, no. Like, comparison for road presence, especially for a Ducati. Like, Ducatis just turn heads, especially if it's the traditional red. Like, come on. Ducati red is sexy. No, there's no doubt about that. Oh, and the other pro, they finally fixed the seat. The seat on the Streetfighter, whew, is so nice. a lot more comfortable than any of the older generation bike. And I do remember saying something about the 1299 that I rode a little bit ago, how I don't understand how my mate like doesn't have back problems. But yeah, back to the pros. One other thing that I actually do really like, and I think more bikes should implement it, is when you're in pretty much in this exact situation that I'm in. If you're in gear or in neutral and sitting and you have the clutch pressed in, the bike turns 2 of the cylinders off to conserve fuel and keep the temperatures down. Which, I mean, like, that technology is kind of old for cars, but it's kind of new for bikes, and I think more bikes should do that, definitely. Especially the Ducatis, considering they're meant for Italian summers, which aren't that hot, but at least in comparison to Australian or any countries that are close to the equator. But yeah, that's my little tirade rant of the things that I like and hate about the bike. Would I choose another bike? Probably not. In place of this? Probably not. 100% not. But if I had the option of having another bike, almost definitely I'll be 100% looking at the BMW, the newer BMW S1000 RRs. Because those things are, for the price, for $26,000 right away, you're getting so much bang for your buck in comparison. If you're going to be buying a V4, just do a little bit of research, because it's not a cheap bike to firstly just throw money at to buy. It's not cheap to throw money at for mods, and just a general running cost of a litre bike, you're going to be chewing through fuel quite fast. Even though I would say it's more economical bike out of all the Ducatis at the moment, like when it comes to fuel efficiency. Well, not fuel efficiency, the cruisers are a little bit better, but as far as using the V4 platform, it's a lot better bike. But again, it's just comes down to that price, because even insurance is expensive on the bike, because I believe I'm paying at about 180 some odd dollars a month for this bike. And yeah, that's expensive, because that includes some of my mods, my gear and everything. Thank you kindly for watching my video and hearing a few of the pros and cons about what I do and don't like about the bike. Please like, subscribe, ring a ding ding that bell, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.